Hello, welcome to another episode of the Mindful Introvert podcast. This is a podcast where you can get inspired and have a better understanding of your unconscious programs that run your life without you realizing. And by bringing them to light, you can heal and grow into an aligned and fulfilling life. I'm Joe from mindfulintrovert.com, an inner peace and abundance coach, and my purpose is to help you slow down, look inwards, and create a more peaceful life by learning to trust your intuition and exploring your spirituality at a soul level. And if you are fully committed to your growth, I have a special gift for you. Simply stay until the end to learn how you can have your very own free inner peace and abundance hypnosis delivered to your inbox and start reaping the benefits of a relaxed and peaceful life. For now, let's get on with the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Mindful Introvert podcast. And today I have a very special guest with me. I have Mousami Pandey, and she is a certified purpose clarity coach. She's a published author with an amazing book, if I say so myself, an aspiring motivational speaker, and the founder of A Look Within. And she is originally from Nepal, and she moved to the US with hopes of a brighter future, and she holds a MMB. Do you hold an MMB?
I wish I knew what that was.
She holds an MBA and almost a decade of experience in the wealth management industry. And basically, she had an Oh, why am I struggling today? Mousami, what are you doing to me? She had an existential crisis that led her to some big changes in her life, and eventually, basically, she discovered her passion for coaching. Thank God she did. And her mission is to guide women to unlock themselves from the prison of their minds and climb the highest peaks of what is possible to live an empowered life of purpose, power, and peace. I love that. Thank you, Mosami, so much. I'm going to call you Mo from now on.
Okay.
Mo and Joe. Uh,
Yes, we are.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy as my dear friend that you are here on my podcast. Thank you.
And thank you. I'm very grateful that we can do this, and that we could actually set up a time to do this. So I'm just glad you're doing this whole podcast. I'm just impressed with your work, and again, very happy to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm impressed with your work. I'm always inspired by you on Instagram. Yes, yes. And would you like to tell everyone that maybe it hasn't known you yet? What is it that more about yourself? Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
You know what? You did a phenomenal job with my bio. So I'm like, what am I to add to my bio? But anyway, I think what I would like to say is I'm someone who stands for women empowerment. I'm big on spirituality, doing your inner work, doing meditation, and doing your personal development, because that has been a big part of my journey and how I got here today. So that's what I would kind of add to who I am. I'm basically from Nepal, South Asian millennial here. And I'm all about helping women, especially, kind of really see the power that they do have inside of themselves, that somehow we've been led to kind of dim
Mm,
that light, and to
mhm.
kind of help people really see that power and embrace it so they can live a more bigger, brighter, empowered life.
Yes, amazing. Already inspired. So, how did you get to start on this journey, this personal development and spirituality journey?
Sure. Well, you know how you talked about my existential crisis.
Mm,
That's such a big term. I thought I had life all figured out. I thought I did. I used to plan, oh, I'm going to get married when I turn 28, and then I'm going to have kids when I'm 30 or 30, all of that. I had things figured out because I thought that's the way you're supposed to live your life. And as I kept checking things off of my list, and I started getting this voice in my head that was telling me that I was not happy.
mm,
And just I started tuning into it, and I'm wondering, like, why am I not happy when I'm doing everything right in my life? Something is off. Something is definitely off. And that voice started getting louder and louder and louder over time. And just being aware and embracing that knowledge in itself was a big existential crisis for me, where
Mm.
your whole identity kind of shatters. And you think you had life all figured out. You think this is who you are, and all of a sudden none of that seems to be true anymore. And that's when I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I need to figure this out. And just going through that journey, led me to a path of doing more inner work, understanding myself better, understanding my quirks, what worked, what didn't work, and all of that. And I guess I'm still on that journey. It's a never ending journey. We're
Mm,
always
yeah.
learning and growing. So that's where I'm at. But I'm in love with it. I love being able to kind of see myself from a different perspectives and have a better understanding of the patterns in our life and what we're meant to learn, from all these different experiences, and use that as a guidance in how we want to move forward in life.
Yes, 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 I agree. Just it's very common nowadays, especially women dimming their lights and just playing small because they are afraid of what might come of them if they have an opinion. And so, what would you say is some of the big mistakes that maybe you were making at that time, or maybe people who are listening are making without being fully aware, and that they are basically dimming their light? What would you
Yeah.
say?
I think for a lot of times people don't even realize that they're doing it to themselves.
Mm,
And we have gotten to a point where instead of standing in our power and knowing what that is, we basically give our power to people around us, or maybe to more like authority figures in our lives. And we just look up to them, and we're looking to them for instructions in how to live our life.
mm,
What are we supposed to do? And in that way, we're basically giving away our power and very much dependent on how they um, how they love us, how they accept us, how they want us to live our life. And that is where we're completely kind of depleted in a sense, because you have no idea of what your power really is, because you don't even realize that you're giving it away to others.
yeah.
And so I think it's very important to do, self self awareness work, and
Mm,
to understand yourself better, and see where exactly are you, maybe being too dependent on other people in your lives, maybe a guy, or your partner, maybe your parents. And we're basically giving away our power to those people.
yeah.
If we could just being able to acknowledge that and
Mm,
understand where you are in that journey, I think is the biggest step forward in then being able to reclaim your power back, because a
mm-hmm.
lot of times you don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah. Okay. So, how does one raise self awareness?
I think having interest, first off. If you don't have interest in this whole personal development, self-awareness, any of that, I can't force people to do it, right? Like, you need to have that willingness inside of you of wanting to understand yourself better. Like, I would say, for 5 years back, I was nowhere interested in self awareness. No, because my focus in life was totally different. It's only when I started getting those silent voices in my head that was telling me something is not right, I'm not happy, something is off,
Mm,
basically. That's when I started questioning myself and looking at life from a different perspective. And that's when you start doing your self awareness journey. But if you're not even at that point, then there's no point in telling somebody, hey, you need to do more self awareness for yourself. So I think
yeah.
it all starts with having that inner calling to want to understand yourself better. And when you
Mm-hmm.
get to that point, just being open to that, being accepting of that, being really honest and humble with yourself,
Yeah.
and be okay with accepting your mistakes, whatever that is. Because it's not that you're only going to see your good side. You're going to see your good side, your bad side, your ugly side, your amazing side, all of it. But just being okay with seeing different parts of you and being accepting of all of that is, I think, what's very important, to get started in that journey.
Mm, yeah. And you mentioned also that you had yourself a lot of shoulds, and this is what you should be doing, this is the right thing. And I had that myself as well. I think everyone has their own sense of direction that is not necessarily their own. is more of what has been conditioned upon us. And so why would you say that is important for women and everyone in that matter to drop these shoots, and how essentially can they do it?
Yeah. Again, I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying. If
Yeah.
people don't even realize that they are bound by all these shoots of the world, there's no way of getting out of it.
Hmm.
So I think it all starts with being aware of what kind of conditions are you tied to in your life. And if you can start opening your eyes to that and see for yourself from if you can adopt a more objective neutral perspective of your life and see, okay, am I maybe too attached to my job? Am I maybe too attached to, you know, I don't know, the accomplishments that I've had in my life? And if I am, like, why is that? Like, just start questioning different things. It's like, critical thinking, critical reading.
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
don't just take something that was told to you just for the sake of accepting it because it's a rule in the society, but just ask yourself, does that make sense? Is that something that is serving you? And you know what, maybe it is. I'm not saying that everybody needs to live life a certain way. Everyone has their own unique approach to life, unique way of embracing life. Some people may be more than okay with living your stereotypical way of life. For example, go to
Hmm.
school, get good grades, a good job, a happy family. That's perfect for you, but that may not be the ideal solution for each and every person. So all I'm saying is each person should at least ask themselves, whatever we are fed by society, is that working for you? If it is
Hmm.
working, great. If it is not, then the onus is on you to figure things out.
Hmm.
Because whatever worked for our parents' generation, for example, right? Whatever worked in the past, it worked for a reason for them. But society has changed so much. Like, just before, 10 years ago, we didn't really have, internet in our hands. And so much has changed. So should we not start being more open to new ideas and new ways of living? What works for you specifically? Why do we need to be blinded by one, straightforward way of living your life? And just start asking these questions to, and not just to yourself. I would suggest people should be having these conversations with their girlfriends, their
Yeah.
family members, and just have a way of having more meaningful conversation, building deeper connections in your life, and asking each other, supporting each other in having new ways of living, basically.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that. Agree with everything. And I would say that, yes, it is not for everyone. And it's good that, because it's like the majority of people chooses, it's stereotypical because it's the majority and it
Mm.
works for the majority. But it's bad on you if you're not belonging to the majority and if you're almost like feeling a bit too um, detached from that majority. And that is where frustration comes, and sometimes even resentment from others. And I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there
I think
because I always felt very misunderstood by everyone and I was playing the victim. But then when I just reframed this and I said, yes, I am different, but you know what? That's a good thing. And
yeah,
so I think that's
yeah.
important to recognize.
And I think a lot of people, we don't really see it when we just look at it from our naked eye. But a lot of people, I think, do question themselves, but it's hard to see. So it's easy to think that maybe mainstream way of living is working for most people. And
Mm,
maybe it is. Maybe I'm being biased here. But the more conversations I have with people, especially with the work that I'm doing, I'm seeing a lot of people who have traditional jobs, but they have this resentment built in, which is
mm.
hard to see. Like, it's like the duck in a river, or the swan in a river with their, what do you call their when
Pops?
they're
I
paddling.
don't know.
I don't know if I don't know what it,
We're not native English anyway.
but they're basically paddling under the water, and it looks completely fine from the outside, but only they know the struggles that they are going through. And I was in the same place where I couldn't really talk about my discomfort at work. Like, you're supposed to be professional and have everything set right, and everything looks good, at least the facade of it. So it's hard to
Mm,
tell what people are really going through. But especially with the pandemic, like, a lot of people are starting to do their inner work. It's kind of like we're kind of forced almost. We're put in a
Yeah.
situation where you have so much time in your hands and you're doing your inner work, and you begin to realize that maybe it's something is not working for you. And I'm not saying everybody needs to quit their 9 to 5 and start their business, but even within your company, maybe there are ways for you to make some changes where you can be happier, get into a role that's more suited for your different skills and interests that you have. There's
Mm.
so many ways of doing that. But if you if we people just stay tied down to thinking, oh, I have to go for the highest paying job, for the higher paying promotion, and just that linear way of thinking, that's, I don't think that you know does the job for giving you a happy fulfilled life anymore.
Yeah, I don't think either. And what would you say is at the root cause? Because a lot of people are pursuing this lifestyle, this mainstream lifestyle, and they're unhappy, like you're saying. And so, if they are unhappy, what is the root cause? And just basically, what is making them continue to live a life that they're not happy with? What would you say?
Yeah, I think, yeah, when we look around each, our a circle of friends and family, if everybody is doing the same thing, it's hard to stand out.
Mm,
Like you were saying, it's hard to admit you're going through a tough time, or even to talk to anybody, because you might feel like you're the only person that's experiencing it. And it's tough to do, like, experience this on your own to begin with. So it becomes even harder to just step out of that. Because I remember when I talked about quitting my job at my old job, my bosses were asking me, so what are you going to do next?
mm,
That's the obvious question that people would ask. Obviously, I know that. I had nothing lined up. So I said, I don't know. Because I didn't know. So I said, I don't know. But they wouldn't take it. Like, they would keep asking me, so like, really, what are you going to do next? And I'm like, I really don't know. So it's hard to be in that situation where you can be confident in yourself to say you don't know when you don't have anything lined up. You don't know what else you're going to be doing with your life. So I think there's a lot of courage that's needed
mm.
out of the mainstream and do your own thing. And it's hard to find that courage, especially when you don't have people around you who are supportive. Like, when people are questioning you on top of that, like, it just becomes even more difficult. So
Yeah.
I think that could be one big reason, right?
Yeah, definitely. I would say so. And I would also say that courage, the people who have that courage are the most rewarded. And look at you now, you have your company, you have your book, and life is going well. You're still on that journey, you will always be, but you're so much better than 5 years ago, as you were saying. And so, this is the faith that people can have when it's darkest. You just have faith and believe that it's absolutely going to happen, and believe that even if you don't have the resources, you'll get the resources in the meantime to get to where you want to be. Or,
Right.
so just think is having patience. And this generation is a little bit tricky with having patience. I acknowledge that for myself.
So true. Yeah. But you're so right. Like, having that trust in yourself that, you know what, I'm going to figure it out no matter what. I think that's something that's key. And a lot of people struggle with that. And even I have
Yes.
struggled with that. And it takes time to get to that point. So, yeah, just
Yeah.
being confident in yourself, trusting yourself that things will work out, and just, walking out on faith almost.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, it's almost like they are not given the permission, or they don't give the permission themselves to trust themselves. At least that was my own experience. It's almost like I felt it in me. I felt it when it was the right decision, but I always had to double check it with my parents or my partner or a friend or a boss or something. So it was
Yeah.
almost like I needed that confirmation. I needed that validation.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, I'm living their life. I'm not living my life. So it's important to always look inwards, and that's why I love your look within. So it's very important to do that, and to have that time and that patience with yourself, that kindness. Absolutely, I agree with everything. And I wanted to talk about a little bit of purpose because a lot of people, I think one of the most researched personal development question is, how do I find my purpose? What is my purpose? And my purpose and purpose. It gets to a point where it's just a bit too much. So what are your ideas on purpose?
I had a very hard time uh, accepting the fact that I want to work in this realm of purpose, because it is controversial in a sense. I know a
Mm,
lot of people look for it, but it's because I was working with a lot of corporate professionals, especially when I started out my coaching. People don't want to talk about spirituality. People don't want to talk about purpose, and so I kind of really refrained from using that term. But it has been my own journey of accepting it as
mm.
something that is um okay, hold on. Let me describe it as it I've accepted it as something that is an essence of who we are.
Mm,
So purpose is not necessarily a job title, not something we are supposed to do, but purpose is just accepting who you are and embracing your unique talents, your unique skills, and figuring out what is the best way to incorporate those skills in a way that enhances your life.
yeah.
That makes sense. So it's not, black and white.
Yeah.
It evolves with you as you grow, as your skill sets grow, and as your desires in life change over time. That's how your purpose, I think, takes you on different twists and turns of your life. So
Yeah.
that's what I would like to say purpose. So it's not, a golden pot under the rainbow that you're supposed to go on a quest to figure out. But at any given moment, it could be something that could change again in the next given moment.
Mm. So
That's
you're
that's how.
saying we have more than one purpose.
Yeah, I think so. I think it changes with where you are in your, and it could be the same thing, but you might be focused on the beginning portion of your big purpose at a certain phase in your life, and then you move on to the next phase depending on your own growth and what you're capable of doing at that point. So I think
Mm.
that's how it keeps changing with you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. And let's just play out this scenario.
Okay.
Imagine that I believe that I need to reach the top of the corporate ladder. That is my purpose. And that's what I'm meant to be doing with my life. My life is pointless if I'm not doing that. But I'm getting burnt out. I'm getting stressed. I'm getting anxious. My relationships are struggling. I don't feel good. I don't have no hobbies.
Mm,
Um, it's almost like I'm lacking purpose, but I know that my purpose is to reach the top of the corporate ladder. And
okay.
then I come to the realization that this is no good for me. And I work with you, and you help me realize and have that self awareness to say, I need to change my life. But I'm feeling guilty and feeling like this is not it. I need to continue to do the lifestyle that I was having. So, how would you help people or guide people to break this prison of mind that they they are experiencing?
Yeah, that's a really good one, because it's not a very simple solution, right? It depending
Mm,
on who you are and what you're dealing with, it's
yeah,
going
yeah.
to be very different.
Sorry, I'm
So
making your life difficult here.
no, that's exactly what we work with.
Yeah.
We come with our own set of experiences and assumptions and prison of our mind that we all have based on whatever you have been through. So I work with people on their mindset. I work with helping them look within, look inside themselves to understand who they really are, and really give them that space to have a more neutral perspective on who they are, be able to see their strengths and weaknesses, positive, negatives, any kind of baggage they might be carrying. Like a lot of times, especially with the people I've been working with, they have this a lot of pressure of wanting to do good, of wanting to perform really well in life, and they have this, um, expectation of themselves on themselves. It's not
Mm,
necessarily coming from their parents, coming from their partner. No, they designed it for themselves. And it really comes from the society that we live in. We have this culture of celebrities doing so good, like we aspire to be powerful, rich, almost like superheroes who can solve all the problems. So we have that mentality of big expectation of how we should be living our life. So I really work with them to get rid of that baggage a little bit,
Mm.
see what they're doing to themselves, and understand how is it serving them and how is it not serving them, and work through the limiting beliefs and all of that, so they can have the right mindset first off to
Mm.
work on their purpose.
Yeah.
And when they are more accepting of themselves and who they are, then I start their purpose clarity work, which is a training program that I am certified in, that I was taught by my mentor coach. She's been doing this program since 1995, and it's a process where I help people understand their skills, their interest, and how we can bring their favorite skills and interests in a way that works for them. And
Mm.
it's there's a really fun part in that where we use a thing called heart magnet,
Okay.
where you focus on your heart and how you feel when you think about different skills that you enjoy doing, different interests in your life that you actually enjoy doing. Because like you were saying, it's so easy to get wrapped up in your mind and what you think you should be doing. You might think that your best skill is being able to talk to people because you think that is the best quality to have, but a lot of times that's just your mind telling you what
Mm.
your best skill is. So we use a thing called heart magnet to go through different exercises to choose things that are actually good for your heart, that you actually love and you enjoy. And then I coach the client in formulating a plan and how we can bring all of those things together and brainstorm ideas to create a new project for them, or new
Mm.
job for them, or new business for them that they actually can really thrive in. So that's the process that I take through, and I think it's really fun because it can get so easy to get wrapped up in your mind.
Amazing. Amazing. I think I need to work with you. I was just being like so cold. Oh, the heart, the heart magnet.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty simple.
interesting.
You just focus on your heart at any given time. You look around your room, or maybe just look at flowers, or like a cute little baby, or a puppy. How do you feel in your heart when you see that?
Good.
It feels good, right? And but if you're looking at maybe trash or something, you feel like
Mm.
something is kind of making you feel like, I don't know how to express it, but small. So that's how you kind of use that as a template to keep building that muscle. And I do different exercises to build on that, and then we use that as a framework to work through the program.
Oh, amazing. Sounds very, very interesting.
Mm.
And so do you use a little bit of spirituality in your coaching as well?
How do you describe spirituality with
Oh,
that?
that's what
I mean,
I want you to say. How do you
I
describe spirituality?
I don't really use the term spirituality when I do actually do my programs, because that can I've seen that people are get kind of confused because they don't
Okay.
really know what that means. But I do infuse meditations in my programs, and they have really helped, like, people that I would have never thought would meditate in their life have tried the meditation, and they're like actually loving it. So I can see how spirituality in general and things like meditations are being more and more accepted, by the overall society.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, because meditation is a big part of what I do for myself. So being able to incorporate it into the program and helping people just relax, tap into that heart magnet, tap into their
Mm,
heart bodies in making those decisions is really helpful to kind
yeah.
of get out of their minds and uh, be more in tune with who they are.
Yes, yes, yes. I think it's very important. It's very important. And people, and I think you're right. I think it is very much the celebrity, social media, the filters. And I can see not so much our generation, but I can see this new generation being super affected with mental issues, mental health issues in the future, where they are comparing themselves to filters who that are completely unattainable in real life.
Yeah.
And and would you say that that is going to condition them to, and that is going to almost take them away from themselves?
I think so. I mean, yeah, because they're so young. They're still young, like teenagers or even younger, that we cannot even imagine. Like when we were kids at that age, like we didn't have anything like cell phones. But with them, the way they are impacted, and you know how we talked, we know about subconscious mind, and the younger you are, the easier
Mm,
it is for it to influence your way of thinking. I mean, I think it's going to be a much harder battle for them to kind of get through that.
yeah.
And I think they need a lot of support from their parents, their guardians, their teachers, like whoever is around them to really guide them properly
Mm,
and make sure that, whatever information they're consuming with TV or social media is good for them, and, it's not like unmonitored. It's
yeah.
very, very important, because I've actually had some teenagers that I haven't worked with, but they reach out to me on social media and they ask me different questions, and I try to guide them the best I can. Like, I'm not specifically an expert in dealing with teenagers, but just seeing them go through struggles that we are going through now, like, I'm like, you guys, like, this kid was just 14 years old and he is going through
Mm,
so much, and his parents have no idea the things that he's dealing with on a computer, on an internet. Like, he's
yeah.
like on the computer all night, and things that he's dealing with. So I think it's very important, and for these kids to actually maybe connect with each other would be nice, because they probably
Mm,
understand themselves better than we can
yeah,
in this day.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's sad for
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I think it's just a product of the society we're building, isn't it? And so, social media and internet has amazing things. If not, we wouldn't be able to have met and just talk.
I
And
I
it's
know.
amazing. So yesterday I saw something very interesting that said, I don't know who said it, but it was like, use social media, don't let it use you.
Yeah. Oh,
Um, yeah, so I think it's powerful. And would you say that also, because there are a lot of people I've seen that maybe like they're 50 or they're even 60 years old sometimes, and they find that they worked 40 years somewhere where they were miserable, but they still did it. And now maybe they're almost at the end of their career or they're getting retired or whatnot, and they just want to find their purpose and they just want to change their life. What would be something that you would tell them?
I think it's actually very similar to my regular clientele. Like, they're going through the same thing. It's just a matter of being at a different age group. But I think traditionally people, were used to look for purpose after they went through their midlife crisis, which is around that age. I think it's just that things have expedited now, where
Mm.
people, they reach 30, or quarter life crisis, and that's when they start questioning all these different things. But I think we're experiencing almost the same kind of change in terms of wanting to find our purpose. But of course, people who have hit their midlife crisis, they have a different set of challenges, because
Mm.
they had lived through 40, you were saying 30, 40 years of a certain way of living, and I think it's harder to turn your wheels around that time and live a
Mm.
completely different lifestyle. And but I guess the benefit could also be that maybe they don't have as much financial obligations by that point, like if their kids are already married and out of their house. So it's a different set of circumstances, but in terms of finding their purpose, it's the process is similar to how I work with my regular
Mhm.
clientele.
Okay, okay. So you can work with everyone, really.
Yeah, I think it's more of who do they feel attracted to in terms of who they want to work with. Can they,
Yes.
vibe well with my energy or not?
Yeah, yeah. So what would be maybe a few general tips that you would give to people who are seeking their purpose?
Okay, that's a good one. I think it's a very sacred time of life, where people are starting to question, okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't think a lot of people ask when they're very young.
Mhm.
It's only after you hit a certain age or have had certain kind of experiences, and then you're realizing, oh, this is not working for me anymore, I need something different. So I think just honoring this phase of life as a sacred time. It's a time where it's very important to give yourself grace, give yourself this. patience and compassion and love for yourself, and just be okay with just being, and
Yeah.
not get confused, wrapped up in being in the doing mode. Just be who
Mm.
you are, being accepting of yourself. There's this model that I like to talk about, which is called seasons of change model,
Mm.
where we go through fall season, then comes winter, and then spring and summer. So people who are looking for purpose are usually in the fall season of their lives, where they're letting go of certain things that have served them. There's no need to bring that forth into the future anymore. So it's time of just saying goodbye to things that worked for you, and now you're just getting ready for the next phase of your life. So
Mm.
honoring that, going within, like in the winter phase, hibernating, going within, doing a lot of your inner work, understanding yourself better, because this is the time when you go into the open and receptive mode, and you receive a lot of insights for you. But it's so important to understand that this is the phase where it is important to not be busy doing things. Because if you move from one job to the next because you feel uncomfortable with your old job, I don't necessarily think that's the best thing you could do for yourself. It's important to just give yourself time the best you can, and just be okay with not doing anything, and do your inner work, um, and receive the insights, and then use that insights to plan out your next steps,
Yeah.
experiment, and take it step by step, slowly. You can't expect to go from fall to summer season.
Yeah.
You have to go through the phases, and
Yeah.
you're not alone. I think I really want to say that a lot of people feel like it's they're the only ones going through that difficult phase,
Mm.
but I can tell you, having gone through it myself, and I've seen so many people going through it, especially with the pandemic. You're not alone. So if you can find people, especially in your own life, who you can actually talk to, get
Mm.
support from, that is going to be so good, so good,
Yeah.
finding that support.
Yeah. And vulnerability is a superpower. So definitely share with someone who respects you and is there for
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Oh, amazing. I want to talk about your book. How did that happen? What is it about? What's the name? Where people can get it from? Everything. Tell me everything.
Okay, so the book's name is Women Living on Purpose. And it's an anthology book, which is basically a collection of real life stories of 20 different women, 20, I would say, heart centered women who are living on purpose. And Joanna, the way this whole thing unfolded was just, I cannot describe it, it was just incomprehensible. Like, I'm a big meditator. I meditate. Meditation is a big part of my journey, obviously. And I think it was around March of this year when I was meditating, and during the meditation, in my mind, I got this insight of, you know what, I need to do something about a book. I need to write a book. But this is something that has been on my mind for a long time, but it was more like dormant. Like
Mm.
it wasn't something I was actively working on. But this morning in March, this insight came to me, and I was like, you know what, I think I need to start acting on this insight. And then the same day, that afternoon at 1:30 p.m., I got a message from a publisher, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting message from a publisher to write a book. I mean, I was like just stunned at how things were really like spiraling. And the thing is, it didn't really work out with that particular publisher. However, 2 weeks down the line, I got another publisher reached out to me. And the funny thing about it is that day, I was really getting attracted to the word powerful. I kept seeing it at different places, like social media post. Even I did a post on Kamala Harris's quotes, and it had this word "powerful" in it. So I was really drawn to that word. And then I got an email from Powerful You Publishing.
Mm.
So immediately that word, it really drew me in. And so, and I looked that email up, and it was that invitation to, whether I could do an anthology book with them, or I could do an actual book with them. So I was like, you know what? It just seems like, the sign from the universe that I need to do something about it. And I did not feel ready for the actual book at the time, but they gave me an option to do a chapter. So I was like, you know what? This is perfect. Like, I can test this thing out, see how it goes, and maybe this will be my debut into this
Yeah.
whole writing journey. So I was like, let's go. I can do this. So that's So it all panned out and they were amazing. They were really helpful with the support that they offered, the marketing help, the writing, editing, presentation. Like they offered a lot of help. And I felt very much supported throughout that journey and being able to share my journey of how I got here. So, with where I was, a very different lifestyle before. So I was able to share this story along with other 19 other women who, with their very inspiring stories of how they have gotten to where they are now. I think it's very interesting. Like when I read their stories outside of my own, like I get inspired. Like every day, I flip the book, I drink coffee, and I read a new chapter just to kind of get myself inspired. So it's been. I feel very grateful and
Mm.
I'm just stunned at how all of this came about. And I
Mm.
would I would say to people, whatever gets your juices flowing, just keep following the nudge and take it one step at a time. And you don't have to be attached to the outcome. Just
Yeah.
go with the flow. And we even got to be Amazon's international bestseller, in a matter
Amazing.
of days. So it was really good. And
Yeah.
I would suggest people, if you want to get your hands on the book, you can get it on Amazon. Just type in "Women Living on Purpose," and you can either get a Kindle version for $10, I think, yeah, or you can buy the hard copy for $20.
Woohoo,
Please get it.
amazing. Congratulations for that. I'm so, so proud of you and just the proud of the work that you do and the inspiring of women and everywhere, every nation that you're international bestseller. That's a big one. And it's so amazing. And I think one of the key, I was listening to your story, and one of the key points that were really make it or break it was you listening to your own gut, to your own intuition, and going with it, having the courage, even though you didn't know exactly what you were doing, how you were doing. You had a vision and you just followed it, even though you were not ready, maybe at that particular time, to write a full book. You still went, and still, maybe fears and all, imposter syndrome and all, you still went and you still did it, and you still came out of the other side stronger and more empowered, more confident. And now the book is coming, the other book, the full book, only written by you. That's the one that I'm waiting for now.
It will be there. And I put it in my vision and it's going to come out soon.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
but
only if you feel, if it lights you up. If it doesn't light you up, that's fine. And that's
no, it
that's
does. I do feel called to share more. So whatever way I can do it, I would do it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And how would you summarize our conversation in like maybe three key points? I know it's tough, but maybe three key points.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I can share one and you can share one.
Okay.
Um, how we do in coaching, brainstorm ideas.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think the highlight would be the fact that people need to do more self reflection and understand what kind of conditioning that they are tied to, and realize what shoulds of the world they're attached to, and make a deliberate decision. Do you want to keep sticking to it? If it works for you, great. If not, make changes.
Mm,
So
yeah,
understand what your shoulds are, drop them if you need to, and embrace your true heartfelt desires.
yeah. Amazing. Yeah, my takeaway I think would be, following on to that one that you're saying, is that heart magnet that you're saying, like following what lights you up, following what you're feeling called to, even though no one else agrees with you, or maybe you feel like you can't do it, or it's not the right thing for you. It's just being open and following your intuition and
Yeah.
being kind and being welcoming. That's, I think that's what it is. And try meditation. Try meditation, see if it works for you. Yeah.
These people try, you know what? If you don't try, you can't say it doesn't work. So you
Mm.
have to try. And Joanna, I think you have like amazing meditation that you have recorded, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a few meditations here on the podcast. in previous episodes, more towards the beginning of the podcast actually. But yeah, I
Okay.
have a lot body scan meditations when you can get body awareness. I
Uh-huh.
have a lot of different things that you can give it a try. So
Yeah, so
look back and just
people get
listen
it.
to those.
Yeah, we have so many good resources to try out. So, you know what? If you don't
Yeah.
try it, it doesn't work. So try it and see it for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me. And how can people get to know more of you, get to see your content? We know already the book. Go buy it on Amazon. I'll leave all of the details on the show notes. And where do you hang out the most on social media?
I'm most active on Instagram. So people, please follow along my journey. It's at a dot look dot within. So it's pretty straightforward. A dot look dot within. You can also come join me on my website. It's a lookwithin.net. Very
Amazing.
straightforward. And if you have any questions, you would like to get to know me better, just send me a message that you can do through the website, or you can even do that through Instagram.
Yeah. And Mo has not a different, a special gift for you that you're listening. Would you like to talk more about what your gift for our listeners is?
Of course, I would love to offer your listeners a free 30-minute career purpose assessment session. And so, what you need to do is go to my website, and you will see there a link to fill out a form to apply for this. And just filling out this form in itself is going to give you more clarity on your
Mm,
journey. And if you are selected based on your response, in during our 30-minute session, I will help identify 1 to 3 areas of opportunity for you to work on to get closer to your purpose. So, this is really for those of you who want to discover or clarify your purpose and have the right
mm.
mindset.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So an action plan for you to take on this purposeful life.
Exactly. Get it on.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure, as always, to talk to you and have you share your wisdom with everyone listening. I really, really appreciate you.
Of course. And you know what, Joanna, I want to give you a very big thank you, and not just for this episode. And this in itself is a big deal for me. But you've been an amazing, amazing friend, and you've really
Oh.
supported me with really big, key pieces of wisdom that you have given me that has inspired me on my journey. So I want to give you a thanks for that. I want your listeners to know that you are so much more than this podcast episode, that I don't know if they really know that, but you have so much to offer, and you've been a big help for me. So, guys, keep tuning into this podcast series. You're getting a lot of good wisdom, a lot of good information. Thanks to our lady here, Joanna.
Oh my God, you're making me cry. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me, your words. And yes, I'm really happy that you're here. So thank you. And to everyone listening, go buy Mo's book, go connect with her on Instagram. Everything is going to be on the show notes, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Hi, guys.
If you got to this point and want to know how you can get your free inner peace and abundance hypnosis, simply go onto iTunes and leave a review on the podcast. Take a screenshot of your review before you click send and email that screenshot to contact@mindfulintrovert.com, and I will send it to you so that you can start enjoying a more peaceful and abundant life. For more inspired content, follow me on Instagram at Coach Joanna Calado. And if you're looking to work with me one-on-one, you can reach me on Instagram as well, or you can send me a voice message here on the podcast. I will leave everything in the show notes so that you don't miss a thing. And I will see you on the next episode. And until then, slow down and trust yourself. Bye.